And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed. To you it shall be for food. Genesis 1:29. Man did eat angels' food. He sent them meat to the full. Psalm 78:25. Everyday Manna with Lisa.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Everyday Manna. Today we are going to make a delicious homemade quick cooking soup. We're going to make a corn and potato chowder. Then we're going to make a very easy drop biscuit and a coconut chocolate drop for dessert. But we're going to get started on this soup. Now I have a large soup pot here that I have preheated, and I'm going to just put in about 4 slices of bacon that I have cut up into little pieces, and we're just going to let that brown and crisp up and cook, and that will be the base, the flavor of our soup. So let's get all that down in a single layer on the bottom of the pot. I got it on like medium-high heat. Now we're going to add some vegetables to that. We're going to add some carrots and some celery, and we're going to get them cut up. Now these have been scrubbed, so I'm not going to peel them because I like to leave the peelings on anything I can, because I find the vitamins and minerals are right there and you don't want to peel those away. So if you scrub them, well, they're wanting to fly all over the board, then you don't have to peel them. But I cut them in half to make them a little more manageable, and then cut them again in half. And then just take your knife. This knife needs to be sharpened. And we're just going to cut them into, pretty good sized little bite-sized pieces. I love soup, and you've heard me say this many times before. It doesn't have to be cold weather for me to like soup. I just like it any time of the year. I like it winter, spring, summer, and fall. Now, granted, I might change up and not have as hearty of a soup, although sometimes I do. Sometimes it can be July and I want beef stew. But soup is a very good way to stretch your budget, your dollar, because generally speaking, at least the ones I cook are inexpensive, and they feed a crowd. And if you find you have unexpected company, usually you can add another carrot or potato or whatever base you're making, and a little more water or milk or stock, and feed 1 or 2 more people. So it's a good way to stretch your food dollar. Now I want to check my bacon here. I don't want it to stick. I just want it to brown and cook. Now I'm going to leave the drippings in there. You could drain them if you wanted to, but I want to leave that flavor in there. If you wanted to make it a little healthier, you could. You could go ahead and drain out the drippings. And I keep, a lot of us Southerners, this is what we do. I have a little container that I keep in my refrigerator, and whenever I cook bacon, if I'm not using the drippings, I keep the drippings, and I keep a little container of bacon drippings in my refrigerator because it's a great way to flavor up green beans or anything that, you might be eating. I think that's very much a Southern thing. That's what my mama always did, so I do it too. Mama always had a little container in her refrigerator. Anytime she cooked bacon, that's where the drippings went. It's not quite there. Let's just set these to the side, and we will go ahead and chop up our celery. One of my favorite ingredients. Again, you've heard me say this. If you don't like it, leave it out. It's perfectly fine to leave it out of the soup if you don't like celery. Celery, onion, and carrots are the basis for a whole lot of soups. This one is no different. All I do is take the celery that has been washed and cut it lengthwise into, lengths, cut it in half. And then if I have a fatter end, then I will slice that to make it about the same size as the carrot. Because your celery and your carrot are hardier vegetables, harder vegetables too, and they take, excuse me, a little longer to cook than the onion that we're going to put in here. I hear the bacon. It's probably ready for the vegetables. Let's see. Well, maybe just a minute more. A lot of people ask me, what is the difference in a taller soup pot like this and then your shorter, maybe wider Dutch oven? You will get more evaporation of your liquid from a shorter, wider pan than you will a tall stock pot type thing. So that's, the biggest difference. I think we can add our vegetables. I'm just going to leave the bacon right in there. Now we are also going to add 1 onion. Actually, I'm going to use about half of this onion because this is a big onion. This so happens to be a Vidalia. They're just now hitting the markets. So I love them. And when I can, I like to use the Vidalia. They're sweeter. They're just wonderful. Let's just take another part of our board and go ahead and slice this up. That's why I like working on a big cutting board, is so that I can, have room to have all my vegetables. Probably the number one question that I get on this program in terms of things I use is about this cutting board. Inevitably, I get so many questions about it. I have had this board for many years, going on 10 years. If you take care of a cutting board, it will last you a long time. Never, ever put your wooden cutting boards in your dishwasher. Never. You will ruin it. Wash it with soap and water. Ever so often disinfect it with, what I like to do is mix, like a bottle-sized container of water with a tablespoon of bleach and spray it on there and then wash it after it sits for about a minute. Then it will disinfect the pot, or the cutting board. Now I'm going to add my onions. What I'm going to do first is just let these vegetables sweat. We're going to let them cook just for a minute or two. And then we will add our liquids. You get a little bit of a caramelization of the vegetables when you do this first. Now, I'm going to take a quick break, and all I'm going to do is just peel these potatoes. I've got about 1 pound of potatoes. I'm used to using a paring knife because that's what my mother did, and that's how I was raised. I'm just going to peel these potatoes, and when I come back, we're going to chop these up, get them in the soup pot along with all of the other ingredients, and then we're going to start on our biscuits. I'll be back in just a minute. Alrighty, now I want to show you something in this soup pot. The brown that you see down in here, you see that? That is called the fond. That is absolutely delicious, and you want that in there. What we're going to do is add, this is just a couple of cups of milk and a couple of cups of water. And if you pour your milk onto your spoon like I'm doing, it'll keep it from splashing everywhere. But put your liquid in there and then take a flat-bottomed spatula like this one and go along that bottom, and that scrapes that up, and that adds so much flavor to your soup. Just take that just for a second, and then you've got a wonderful, delicious soup base ready to go. So now I've got my potatoes peeled. I'm just going to cube them and add them to our soup pot. I'm getting hungry just standing here cooking. I find when I cook, which is on a daily, I get so hungry that I nibble while I cook, and then when it's time to sit down to eat, I'm full. You do that? I do that a lot. So I'm just going to cut these up. And you want about 2 pounds. Now these are just standard russet potatoes, but you could use the red potatoes, you could use the gold, you could even put the purple potatoes in there if you wanted to. They don't have quite the starch content, but they're really good. If you've never tried those, they're blue Peruvian potatoes. We've cooked them on the program here before. And I like to work beside my stove. And then I just add the ingredients. There's a couple of little pieces of onion. I add my ingredients as I get them chopped. This is a good soup to make. You could do, cook up the bacon, do it up to this phase, stick it into the crock pot and let it simmer on low while you go off about your day to work or whatever you're doing. And then when you come home, you have a wonderful dinner ready. Make the biscuits in 15 minutes, which is about how long they take. And then you've got a full meal. Have a salad and there you go. Or a sandwich, grilled cheese sandwich with it would be yummy. Soup is just a wonderful thing to have, and it really is most of the time. The soups that I make are inexpensive to cook, but I don't make, lobster bisque and things like that. Although those are delicious, they are a little more pricey to make, but, soups like this are very inexpensive and so good, and we love them. Now, I've added my potatoes. I'm going to add a little bit of salt. About a teaspoon or so of salt and some pepper, fresh ground. And then you're going to add 2 cans of creamed corn. I'm using the yellow corn. You could use either yellow or white, either one. But this is creamed corn, not whole kernel. And then stir that together. And that corn will just kind of thicken that right up. And it will be delicious. Now that just needs to cook for a few minutes. Put your lid on there, turn it down to like medium-low, and you've got a wonderful soup just cooking away. Now I've got my oven preheated, and we are gonna make a very easy, quick drop biscuit. Now I have a mini muffin tin. If you don't have one of these, you can drop it by the spoonful onto your sheet pan, but it'll spread a little much. Now I've got 1 stick of butter here that I'm gonna melt. And in this cup, or this bowl, I've got a couple of cups of the baking mix that you can buy. There's several brands out there. This is just the baking mix that, we all know and love. This is sour cream. We're going to add some sour cream to the pan or the bowl. I love quick, easy drop breads that just cook in a matter of minutes. They're delicious and they're so good. And we're just going to get our butter melted. You could do this in the microwave if you wanted to. The oven should be at 325 or 350, either one will work. I put it at 350 today because I'm also going to bake some little cookies in just a second. But go ahead and be stirring the flour mixture, the baking mixture in with your sour cream. Just kind of get that going, and then when that melts, we will add that. All right, now our butter has melted, and I'm just going to pour that in here. Be careful because that butter is hot. Okay. Now stir all that together, and it'll be a thick dough, which is fine. That's what you want. This is bread you don't have to knead. This is just a drop biscuit, and it's really good. Now, take 2 spoons. Move this up here, be a little easier. And then you're going to drop this into the little muffin tins. The reason you get 2 spoons is that way you can use the other one to scrape it off. Sprayed with nonstick baking spray. Now, nonstick baking spray is the spray that has the flour in it. You could, if you wanted to, top this with some, excuse me, my allergies are flaring up, with some grated Parmesan cheese would be good, or cheddar cheese, or really anything you wanted, or you could just do them plain. They're delicious that way. You could, if you wanted to take this very same recipe, add in some sugar, like maybe, I don't know, 1/4 cup of sugar. Stir that in here and then put them in the little mini muffin tins like I'm doing, and then sprinkle over it some of the sugar in the raw, the Demerara sugar, and then bake them, and you would have little mini bite-sized like shortcakes. This dough is very versatile. You could make it sweet or savory, either one. It's really good. But today we're just going to have them as little biscuits. The sour cream adds not only flavor, but it adds some moisture to the dough and just helps it to taste delicious. About 1 cup of sour cream. And I use low fat. I don't like the fat-free, but I do like the low fat. And we've got some wonderful little biscuits here. Put them in your preheated oven. It is important that your oven be preheated so that the heat of the oven hits this immediately and it puffs up. I'm just going to get these in the oven. I'm going to clean this mess up. When I come back, we're going to make a wonderful little chocolate and coconut cookie drop. I'll be back in just a minute. All right, welcome back. Now, in this pot, we have 1 can of sweetened condensed milk. And I've got it over medium heat, and I've got about 4 tablespoons or so of just little mini chocolate chips. Now, you can use the barred, like the baker's baking chocolate, and just chop it up, or you can just do what I did and use the little chips. Any kind of chocolate that you like is fine. Make sure that you stir that, and then I've got a whisk too when that chocolate starts melting so that we can whisk it together. Now in this cup, I keep calling these cups, in this bowl I've got some coconut, and then I'm going to add a couple of cups of just mixed nuts, whatever kind you like will be fine. And I'm just going to stir those together. Get all that mixed up. You can use any kind of nut that you like. I chose walnuts today, but you could use pecans, you could use almonds, you could use macadamia nuts. You can use anything you want, or a mixture. If you wanted to do a mixture, you could do a mixture. Stir those together. This is so easy to do. So easy. It's just a sticky little cookie drop. The oven is at 325 degrees. And I have a baking sheet here that I have lined with non-stick cooking aluminum foil. I love the non-stick foil. I really do. I use that stuff pretty much exclusively. It's wonderful. Now I'm going to switch to the whisk because the chocolate is starting to melt. You can see the brown starting to come out, and I don't want that chocolate to burn. So I'm just stirring that together. Once that chocolate starts melting, it really will melt in just a couple of minutes. It's not hard at all to melt chocolate this way. You could also do this in the microwave, or you could do it on top of a double boiler if you wanted to. Either way would work. You just want that chocolate melted into the sweetened condensed milk. I think that's about it. Now I have chocolate sweetened condensed milk. And by the way, when I went to the store to get the ingredients for all this, I saw where they now have caramel flavored sweetened condensed milk and chocolate flavored sweetened condensed milk. So I bought some of that, and I'm going to recipe test with that because I thought, ooh, that would be good. And then we're just going to pour this into the coconut and nut mixture. And stir that together. Now mix all of that together. These are just quick, easy little drop cookies. Kind of would remind you of a macaroon, if you've ever had a macaroon, which is one of my favorites. I like anything that has coconut in it. I love coconut. Now these are very rich, so you would want to make sure that you make them small. Don't make them real big because they are very rich. Now I have a lined baking sheet and again 2 spoons, and I'm going to drop them onto the baking sheet, about an inch apart or so, just like this. And then I'm going to bake them for about 8 minutes at 325 degrees and then let them cool, and they will be ready to eat. You could mix up the flavors of this umpteen ways. If you wanted to, you could put caramel, melt some caramel, or simply use that caramel flavored sweetened condensed milk. I don't know if I just haven't bought any of that in a while, but I didn't know they had the flavors till the other day. I was pleasantly surprised because I really like caramel and I really like chocolate. So I'm just going to keep dropping these on here, and then I'm going to get these in the oven and let them bake for about 8 minutes. Okay. All right, now our cookies are done. They need to cool completely before you try to move them off of the sheet. I did take them off of the pan. I left them on the foil and just slid them onto my board, or you could use a cooling rack. Because if you try to move them before that chocolate sets back up, they're just gonna fall apart. So we're gonna leave them alone. I mean, you're only talking 30 minutes. So that's perfect. You can let those cool while you eat. And here is our soup. Our finished soup. It's just got wonderful little veggies in there. I just put a little extra cracked black pepper on there because that's what I like. If you wanted to take a potato masher and put down in the pot and just smash some of the potatoes up, that adds another layer of texture to the soup. But you want to leave some of the chunks whole, but that you can do that, or you don't have to do that. And here are our wonderful little biscuits, and I have to confess I've already eaten a couple of those. They are just so good. It's just sour cream and baking mix and melted butter. But those 3 ingredients mixed together and baked in a little mini muffin tin just make the best little bite-sized biscuit. That sour cream adds a tang, adds a richness to it. And I used the lower fat sour cream. So you can do that. I would not use the fat-free because, number one, I don't like fat-free cheeses, fat-free cream cheese, fat-free sour cream. To me, they have no flavor. They taste weird. But I do like the low fat. So I did use the low fat in that in our soup. You could have this as is, or if you wanted to round it out, you could make a grilled cheese sandwich or even a salad. Soup and salad are one of my favorite combinations to have. But or just alone on any day, and this would be great leftover, put in your thermos the next day for work or school or wherever you're going. And then the best part, don't forget your little cookies. Just let them cool because they are fragile. So these are just some quick, easy recipes that you can try. Download them. Let me know what you think. By the way, you can get on everydaymanna.org and get the recipes. We've got a new website that's up, and it's beautiful and much easier to use, much easier to search and print out your recipes. You can also go to Facebook and like our page, and we do, sometimes we'll do giveaways, cookbook giveaways and that kind of thing on the Facebook page. We also have a YouTube channel, Life Every Day with Lisa. You can log on. Be sure that you subscribe to get the notifications. Hit that little bell that'll send you notifications when we upload a new video. We upload new videos twice a week to the YouTube channel. So try these recipes. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next time on Everyday Manna.
Thank you for watching Everyday Manna with Lisa. This program is made possible by viewers like you. Your support is continually needed to keep Christian programming on the air. Please send your best financial gift to Living Faith Television in care of Everyday Manna, P.O. Box 1867, Abingdon, Virginia 24212.